Hey everybody, it's a new day, so let's dig into a new verse. Continuing 7, we're now today in 21 through 23. Let's have it. It happens so regularly that it's predictable. The moment I decide to do good, sin is there to trip me up. I truly delight in God's commands, but it's pretty obvious that not all of me joins in that delight. Parts of me covertly rebel, and just when I least expect it, they take charge. And for the full block, I'm again in the description because it all kind of flows together. But just digging into this first set for a minute, I want to talk about kind of the dichotomy of man, that aspect of us that's kind of dual-natured. Because we have an understanding of it in a lot of fields. In some fields, it's the reptile brain versus the mammalian brain, smooth brain versus hard brain. It's this idea of trying to understand those two aspects, the aspect of us that wants to do good and the aspect of us that seems to have no interest in doing it. That difficulty that almost seems like we're two different people in a way trying to move forward. And it makes me ask the question, what if those instincts, that natural reaction that may not be a response at all, it's a reaction versus response, what if that reaction is not us at all? What if the reaction to be hurt, well, why are we being hurt? What is the situation? What is to extrapolate and expand on bigger, better, understand it, dig into it? Because a moment may cause us pain, but it may never have been intended that way. And if we react pain to pain, eye for an eye, we can cause harm to somebody who we never meant to. And I think in many, many ways, it is trying to understand that aspect of us, And in some ways, it is a logic versus emotion kind of deal. But it's deeper than that. It's deeper than logic versus emotion. It's deeper than smooth brain versus hard brain. It's deeper than reptilian brain versus mammalian brain. It goes to the core of us, the core of who we are. I asked the question of a class once, do you think hypocrisy is required for the human condition? That it is just a built-in nature of who we are as humans? And I find myself wondering that if that entire idea of hypocrisy being part of the human condition, integral to it, may be recognizing that duality that has to be sorted through. Because if we respond just one way, the carnal way, again and again and again, where there's no part of us that doesn't care what we're doing, well, then this probably isn't the kind of deep discussion. This is more an idea for people who do have that dual nature, that do have that difficulty of, well, I want to do the right thing, but the path to hell is paved with good intentions. I want to try and make this world a better place. My hand tends to cause more problems than it fixes. And it's how do we sort that? How do we understand that? And I think a lot of that is where we get the idea of take all thoughts captive unto the Lord. Take those moments, take that instinct, that knee-jerk reaction, and go, whoa, 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 settle, let me think. Not to the person, but to ourselves. Because a lot of the influence we have on this world and on each other, it happens inside us long before it gets out of us. I don't know about you guys, but how often do people in general, I know especially myself, have these long conversations before the things ever happen? Well, I want to play out every possibility and potential. Okay, there's being prepared, and then there's getting into a place where something may never happen in the first place. We may think that, somebody who we're having a hard time with is just out to get us, and they may just be having a craptacular day, and it's spilling over into the rest of the lives around them. For ourselves, even the same way. And it gets to that point where we have to recognize we can't judge a person based on the moment. Because that moment may be one of the moments in their life, our life, my life, whose life, whomever's life, where sin has taken hold. And should we judge a person for their failures? Well, if you don't fail, you don't learn, you don't grow. Failing is the best way to learn. So why condemn a person for a moment of failure? You know? And that is where it takes active thought to dig into each other's story. To say, okay, what is going on in your life while this is happening? Because I can't condemn somebody for something they may have no understanding about. I cannot condemn somebody for being where I was. You know, and that's the thing. Because even if we've never walked the exact same position in somebody else's shoes, even if we've never been on the same part, we've experienced things that can help us empathize. At least enough to try and connect to each other. It's like, well, I've never lost my family. Have you lost pet? Anything that kind of connects? Something that helps to at least put us in the mindset where we can help lift each other up. Something that puts us into a place where we can recognize each other's difficulties and hold stronger to each other. Moments where we can live godly life. And that is, first and foremost, something that has to be lived for God. You know, it has to be one that says, I want to love others. As Jesus says, most important commandment, love God, love others. If we are to connect to others, if we are to connect to God, we have to do both. Because if you only love God but none other, it's piety. And not the good kind of piety. And if we only love others but we have no concept of God, then what is that point of reference that helps us truly love others? Not for what they do, but for who they are. Not for what they can be, but just the simple fact that they are. And then that is a question I would also ask and offer with this. Take a moment before going with a reaction. Take a moment to respond. Break down what is being going through and take a pause. And remember that when we fail, forgiveness and mercy abound. Christ is happy to forgive if we go to him and ask. Now, if only people would do the same, especially since the Lord's Prayer, help us forgive others the way you forgive us. Because if we're living with that kind of forgiveness, that kind of love, and that kind of mercy in our hearts, then every story is an opportunity to help each other grow. Every moment is an opportunity to rise by lifting each other. Every moment becomes an opportunity to grow. Even if it's doing something that is simple as watching TV on the couch with friends. So see, take a moment just to introspect. And then do it again. See who we are by letting him show us what we are made for in a lot of ways. Well, tomorrow we get to dig into verse 24 and Friday's topic, which would have been Wednesday, but of questions. Questions that I think a lot of people wrestle with. The start of which, how can a good God allow for such ungood things? But we'll dig into that tomorrow. See you guys then. Bye.